John Pettigrew is Chief Executive of National Grid and joins me now. John, good evening to you.
Good evening.
I imagine you weren't overly excited at Jeremy Corbyn saying he wanted to nationalise you.
No. So, interesting. Now, I started in the industry about a couple of months after privatisation. So I've seen the evolution over the last 20-odd years of the innovation and the cost reduction. So National Grid actually operates about 40% lower in cost compared to when the government last owned the industry. So no, we don't think it's particularly good value for taxpayers to pay tens of billions of pounds to renationalise a company like National Grid or any of the other energy companies.
And the other thing is you've got huge investment plans, so nationalisation wouldn't be the end of it. The taxpayer would subsequently be paying out to meet all your investment plans, presumably.
Exactly. If you look at the National Infrastructure Commission, recently did a report that talked about a £100 billion investment over the next decade in energy. So that would need to be paid for by taxpayers if it was nationalised. So, what we need in the energy sector is stable regulation and clear energy policies from government to attract inward investment to deliver that sort of £100 billion of investment that we need.
Have you had any communication from Labour about this? Because, National Grid is a lot of people won't realise you have a colossal US business, you're a big energy supplier over there. If you're nationalised, presumably Labour isn't going to be interested in those parts of the business.
Well, I'm not sure the US would be too keen on being nationalised either. So 40% of our business is in the US, so, we got a market cap of 40 billion. And 40% of that is in our US businesses. So we haven't had any conversations with Labour about it. And as I said, we don't think it's a sensible proposition for energy customers or for taxpayers.
So what do you make of the Conservatives' proposals for a cap on energy bills? Does that have any implications for you?
It doesn't have a huge implication. I guess we understand why the government would be looking at energy bills. It's a big part of people's sort of disposable income that they spend every week. From National Grid's perspective, we're the people that deliver the energy. It accounts for about 3 to 5% of the bill. So for a typical household that's got a £1,000 sort of dual-fill bill, the National Grid element makes up about £45 of it. So, from our perspective, our focus is always about trying to minimise costs. And, this year we've announced a number of things that we're doing to reduce the cost for customers. But, it's that 3 to 5% is the part of the bill that we make up. And our focus is making sure that we invest to make sure that the infrastructure is safe and reliable and to support some of the new energy that everybody wants to connect to the network.
Now, it's already been quite a busy year for you. Ofgem, a couple of months ago, decided against breaking you up. Is that issue off the table now as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, so we came to an agreement with the government and Ofgem around, they talked about a breakup. It's actually our system operator role, which makes up about 1% of our operating profit. So breakup's not quite the right word. It's one part of National Grid. And there were a couple of issues in the market where they wanted to increase separation. So what we've agreed with Ofgem and the government is to increase the separation, put a separate board over that part of the business so that it's very clear that it's segregated, but it will remain part of National Grid as a business going forward.
But is it appropriate, though, for you to be overseeing the balance in the grid, in the network, whilst at the same time you are building your own energy supply business to an extent by importing? You've got these interconnected businesses.
Yeah, people have talked about a sort of perceived conflict of interest, but the reality is there's never been a conflict of interest. We're very careful at making sure that we segregate different parts of the business. And, the investment that we're making in interconnectors are totally separate from our regulated business and from our system operations.
Now, the other thing that you want to do is be allowed to invest in electricity storage, which you're not allowed to do so currently. Why is that?
So at the moment, storage in the UK is classed as generation, and National Grid is precluded from owning generation in the UK. It's very different in the US. We can own storage in the US. My position is very clear. Storage is a new technology. In order to drive the prices down, you want to give it access to as many markets as possible. And we're suggesting that storage could be an alternative in certain circumstances for using infrastructure. So why not let us use it, and that will help to drive prices down.
All right, John Pettigrew, I'm afraid we've got to leave it there. Really appreciate you joining me. Thank you.